O Great Spirit, saints and sages of all times, of all places, O ye pathmakers of old, ancestors of all the lineages to whom we attune, O ye beings of the air, the earth, fire, water, ether. Om Shri Babaji Yanamaha. Om Shri Lahiri Mahasayaji Yanamaha. Om Shri Teshwarji Yanamaha. Om Shri Paramahansa Yoganandaji Yanamaha. Om Shri Satguru Shaiji Yanamaha. Om Shri Goswami Kriyanandaji Yanamaha. Most beloved and precious Ishtadevata, in all of thy names and all of thy forms, Namaste. Om Tat Sat Om. Om Tat Sat Om. Om Tat Sat Om. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ananda, Om Ananda, Om Ananda. Samadhi. Om, Om, Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Ananda Om, Om Ananda Samadhi. Namaste. Welcome. Welcome to my heart. Welcome to our Sunday Sangha. When I was 7 years old, in school, at an all-girls French finishing school, one of my classmates came up to me at recess. We had been hanging on the merry-go-round, running and going around. And as I jumped off, she called to me, put her hands on her hips and said, "You know, You have a dent on the end of your nose. You have a dent on the end of your nose. I just saw it. I didn't know what to do. I ran in the bathroom and I couldn't see it. But all day long I wanted to cover my face, and you can't be in second grade and walk around with your hands over your face. I went home that night and I said to my mom, "Do I have a dent on the end of my nose?" "I don't think so, honey. I never saw a dent on at the end of your nose." Weeks after that, I thought about that. For weeks. For months. For years, every once in a while, an aspect would fire and I'd go to the mirror and say, "Do I have a dent on the end of my nose?" Now, she didn't say it was good or bad. She just said there was a dent on the end of my nose. But the implication was that it was bad. Decades and decades and decades and decades later, this body, this mind, still feels the shock and the hurt of that statement. That's all she said, and then she skipped away. About 4 years later, my mom had bought me a beautiful new dress, and I was in that dress getting ready to go to church with the family on Sunday. It was just gorgeous. It was an apple green sleeveless sheath with a little bit of a high neck and a beautiful linen. And for those of you that remember the days, I had apple green fishnet stockings to go with the dress. And I felt beautiful. I felt beautiful. My dad got the camera out and asked me to go in front of the house so they could take a picture of me in my new dress with my patent leather shoes and my beautiful fishnet stockings, of which I was so proud. That was the first stockings I'd ever had. We head to the car. I have two brothers, younger than I am. And one of them turns to the other and says, "Ha ha ha, sis looks like the Jolly Green Giant." Now, I don't know if you remember, but there was a Jolly Green Giant that used to be on TV back in the 60s. And the boys started laughing together and saying, "Ah, she's a Jolly Green Giant, she's a Jolly Green Giant, she's a Jolly Green Giant." And I turned to my mother and my father, and they said, "You look beautiful. You look beautiful. Boys, stop it." And we got in the backseat of the car, and they, ignored my parents and did that little whisper, "Jolly Green Giant." And my mind went from feeling happy and joy-filled and beautiful, really beautiful. It's the first time I remember really feeling so comfortable in my skin. Like I just thought I felt beautiful. To feeling to plummeted down. I said to my mother, "I can't go into church. I have to stay in the car. Everybody is going to make fun of me." And she said, "Honey, you look beautiful. You're going to go to church. You're not going to." All the way in church, I tried to hide behind my mother, next to my father, away from my brothers, so that nobody could see me, so that nobody could see how I looked. Never again wore that combination together. I wore the stockings, but never with that dress. In preparing for this meditation this morning, that was decades ago. Decades and decades and decades and decades ago. You can tell I'm not a 10-year-old girl. My mother is gone, my father is on the other side, my brother is on the other side. but my memory of that moment of plummeting from feeling beautiful to feeling as if the whole world was going to make fun of me is still alive and well and living in me. And as I prepared for this meditation this morning, I thought, wow, how the everyday mind sabotages our happiness. How the words, and just careless words, how is it that of all of the things that I have heard over my life, all the opinions people have shared with me, about me, with others, about me, some good, some not good, many worse than I'm sure that I've ever heard, and many better than I've ever heard, really, I know that I should remember those two things. And the second one particularly from my brothers, that it would stay with me so prominently and would have affected my behavior, my feeling about myself. Now, had I been able to laugh at them and say, you guys just have no taste. What are you talking about? Or, yeah, I do look like the Jolly Green Giant. I'm on TV. How do you like that, boys? Anything other than what I did, which was to allow my mind to be beaten down. And so it becomes clear what sabotages our happiness, what things cause you. I would imagine none of you have had siblings that have told you look like the Jolly Green Giant, but somebody, or a schoolmate that said you had a dent in the end of your nose, which I still can't see all these years later. But you've had something. Somebody has said something to you, or they've looked at you a certain way, and they've said something to you that has led you to feel unworthy, or led you to feel unaccepted, or led you to feel sad, or led you to feel less than. And what does this do? It creates a habit in which we say, well, no, even if they invite me, I'm not going to go. Or, no, I'm not going to go. They're never going to invite me to that. They're never going to include me in that. Or, oh, I really wish I could do that, but that's not for me. That's for other people. That's not for me. And so, Kriya, yoga, is about taking a sacred action, taking a wise action, to yoke the mind and the body together, to yoke our behavior, to yoke our thoughts together, to transform this state of consciousness to that state of consciousness, to transform that state of consciousness of despondency or sadness to something that is more galactic, more beautiful, more bountiful. How do you do that? Sometimes there is the necessity to forgive. You may think, what is there? What is there to, how do I forgive something like that? How do I forgive a careless remark, or a child saying something that they said in emotionality, or they were joking, and it hurt your feelings, it hurt you emotionally. Your mind became hurt because of what they said. You allowed your mind to be hurt because of what they said. It matters not how big or how little the thing is that we must forgive. But forgiveness is the foundation. It is the first step. Now, what do you do? How do you see how the everyday mind can sabotage your happiness, can sabotage your life? It took me a long time before I could wear that color green again. Now I can. What is to be done? Well, introspection is the first thing. And to just sit quietly and allow your mind to go back in time. Is there an event? Is there something that someone said? Is there something that you heard that has caused your mind sadness? Stop at it. And what I'm talking about is allowing the memory of the event that you might think, looking back at your life, well, this is not such a big thing. Why would my mind be stuck on something that, my brother said going to church on a Sunday more than half a decade ago? Half a century ago, excuse me. Well, more than half a decade ago. Half a century ago. Why? And why is the hurt of the mind just as fresh as that time? Why are the emotions that arise just as fresh? Well, the answer is simple. I never did a Kriya. I never did anything to remedy that. I never never forgave them. I never did any replay. I never did anything. I never stood under the healing, the waterfall of healing light to balance that. And so that memory is alive here, just like it's alive within your red blood cells. Your memory is alive there. And so we must do something to transform that, to heal it, to balance it. Or what will happen is like a thorn that continues to prick itself just over and over and over and over. Did you ever go for a walk in the forest or the woods or hiking, and you've walked for a while and your foot gets a little, something gets in your shoe? You keep walking, and whatever that thing is that's in your shoe starts to irritate the foot. You shake the foot around a little bit. Maybe you can get it so that it's off to the side, but it still irritates. And you must stop at some point. And oftentimes when you stop, you shake the shoe out. It's only a little tiny, tiny, tiny pebble or a little tiny, tiny, tiny piece of stick. And oftentimes you wonder, how did that cause so much irritation? How did that cause so much pain? Physical pain in the body. And why did it take me so long to stop, to take it out? Because I'm sure that you've had the experience if you're walking along and you're at a good clip and you're enjoying the hike, and this thing, intruder if you will, gets in the shoe. And the first time you feel it, you want to ignore it. The second time you feel it, you think, I can live with this. And the third time, I can live with this. And then it keeps coming and you realize, I need to stop. And yes, I need to untie my boots, I need to untie my shoes, whatever they are, and shake them out. And then I can resume. And so it is with the emotional hurts that we carry with us. We need to transform those. We need to accept them, to recognize them, to accept them, and then do something about them. Because if we fail to do that, the everyday mind will say, well, you know, not necessarily consciously, but subconsciously. Oh, you know, I cannot accept the goodness about myself. I cannot accept the good things about myself. And so we have to switch the mind, train the mind, retrain the mind to be able to see clearly that which needs to be seen, so that the patterns of the everyday mind do not continue to sabotage your happiness. You know, if your mother said to you, don't be happy, and it takes a long time before somebody else says to you, be happy, just be happy, just be happy, just be happy. You can be happy. One voice has to override the other. And you need to understand which voices are speaking the loudest to you. Which imprints are the loudest for you? And which do you want to have the greatest capacity for you to lean on and to rely upon? For me, it's the Kriya teachings. You know, my teacher, my guru always said, love the teachings, not the teacher. And I used to say, okay, sure. I think you can love both. But you need to find something that says, I can be free. I can be healed. Yes, my body is having pain, but I can find a way for this to be healed. Just because a doctor says, you know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the doctor says, we can't do anything to help you. No. Life changes. Life changes, my beloved. You can be helped. You can be healed. Whatever another person can manifest in this life, you can too. It's a matter of the time, the right way for you. And it's a matter of you feeling hope and feeling the possibility that, yes, I can change. I can do this. Yes. Even if my brothers say I look like the Jolly Green Giant, I can feel beautiful again. We're in that shade of apple green. And I cannot worry about what others think about how I look, but feel comfortable in my own skin. Even if I go to Spain and somebody looks at my hair, not when it was cut like this, but when it was longer, but the same color, and says to me, we don't like that. We don't wear our hair like that. I can show you a good beauty shop. And I said, what do you mean? And she grabs my hair. The color, the color, the color. I'm sorry it makes you uncomfortable. Now, you could have become uncomfortable about that. I could have become uncomfortable about that. But no. You must learn to say, okay, let me let that go. Let the thorn bush go. The everyday mind sabotages your happiness, your relationships, because of its emotionality. Your everyday mind needs to be trained. and retrained and retrained and retrained until it behaves in a way that is harmonious to the life that you wish to live, so that you don't constantly blow up yourself, blow up your happiness. No, 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 no. And then life will come along, right? You'll be walking through time, and your loved one, your beloved, will transition. And what happens? The everyday mind, in all of its beauty and its old habits, takes over and says, I don't know if I can ever be happy again. How do I live like this? Lift up a little bit and say, well, now, this person's happy. Their spouse left before they did. I had the most remarkable experience just a few months ago. It was the 7th anniversary of the transition of a woman who was a bridesmaid in our wedding. Lovely person. She introduced my husband and I. And we were with her husband on the anniversary of her transition. We were having dinner together, watching a movie. And I said, boy, it's hard to believe it's 7 years since she's gone. It is. Isn't that date around now? This is him. And I said, it's today. Well, I'll be darned. And I said, how are you doing? He says, I've had a great day. I'm really happy. I'm really doing well. He says, I must be doing well. This is the first year that I haven't been really down on this anniversary. This is the first year that I felt just really happy and content. And I said, wow, wow, wow. Isn't that wonderful? And he said every year has gotten better, but he said, I didn't think that there would be a year that I would not remember that date. Now, they were married for a long time, and 50 some odd years, and so, you can't say he didn't love her because he didn't remember. He did. He does. He still loves her. But he found a way to be happy. And so I'm saying to you, no matter what happens in your life, you can find a way to be happy. Look around you. See how the others have done it. Follow the path. If something difficult happens in your life, find someone who has solved that problem. Say, I wonder what they did. How did they do that? How did they walk through that? Let me ask them. Let me study. Let me read. Let me try to lift myself a little bit. What's the small thing that I can do to improve my life? What's the Kriya that I can do today to improve my life? What can I say no to? What can I say yes to? What can I know that it's right to do or that it's not right for me to do? And so I said forgiveness. Everything begins with forgiveness, acceptance and forgiveness. I think for some of you that's hard. The word acceptance is hard. Acceptance does not mean that you have to like the thing. It doesn't mean that you have to say, oh, this is bad things happen. I accept this. I'm happy with it. No, it means that you just have to say, all right, it is. This is the way it is. Let me see it how it is so that I may do something to improve it. That's the key. Let me see it how it is so I may do something to improve it. Now, when you see that you have a habit of the mind, and some of you do, some of you have a habit of the mind to become discouraged. We all become discouraged at one time or another. All human minds become discouraged. But sometimes the mind can have a habit of being overly self-critical and overly critical of others. But overly self-critical is really the problem. Now, it's one thing to ascend above your everyday mind and say, well, all right, let me see. What needs to be modified? What needs to be corrected? And what am I doing that if I keep heading this way, it's not going to be good? I don't want to do that. How do I rectify that? How do I modify it? What needs to be done? What needs to be done? Well, maybe I need to replace a thought. Every time I think somebody is doing something to me, every time I think I'm being abused verbally or somebody's looking at me the wrong way, maybe I need to do a loving kindness practice. You walk in a store and somebody you think somebody's looking at you crossways. They're looking at you like they don't like you. First of all, my beloved, the everyday mind so often thinks that other people are paying attention to you when they're not. They're so caught up in their own worlds. We're all caught up in our own worlds. You're far less important in their everyday mind than you think. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they don't feel good. Maybe they just ate something that upset their stomach. Maybe it's too hot or it's too cold. Whatever. They look at you crossword. You feel, you experience, this is it. You experience them as doing something that is critical of you. Do loving kindness. Look at them and silently say, may you be mentally happy. May you be physically happy. May you be safe. May you have ease of well-being. Let it go. Mentally bow to them. Namaste. The divine within me bows to that within you. This becoming a part of your everyday life, becoming a habit that you use whenever the mind begins to allow emotionality to arise. Whenever emotionality arises in the mind. The practice of Kriya Yoga is to be able to recognize, this is arising. Well, I need to do something. For the 15th time in the last bit of our meditation, I'm saying to you, you have to do something. If you do not proactively do something, forgiveness, loving kindness practice, or metta meditation as it's sometimes called, or using mantra, Om Shanti, 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 or try smiling, try asking how they are, step out of yourself, and listen to what is said. Do something. And if you find yourself stepping into the same pile of cow dung again and again and again and again and again, and you find people one after the other picking up that cow dung and throwing it in your direction, don't walk in the field in the middle of the night when you can't see the cow dung. Walk in the light of the day. Walk in the light of your self-awareness. so you see, and you're not stepping in the same mess again and again and again. You can be happy. You should be happy. Just be happy. You are entitled to contentment in your life, whatever entitlement means. And if you don't feel like you're worthy and you don't feel like you're entitled, so what? As Shelley G said, accept it anyway. Accept the blessings and the goodness of life. Open yourself to the blessings and the goodness of life. And going back to the beginning of our meditation, of our time together today, when you find, as you have blessed me, because until I was preparing for this meditation, I really was not aware of the hurt that still resided in my memory track about that existent or non-existent dent on the end of my nose and the Jolly Green Giant, which really was a deeper hurt. The Jolly Green Giant was a deeper hurt in my memory track. Now I have to go do something about it. So today I will do something about it because it doesn't belong here anymore. And when you untie one knot, the whole chain unties. And the hurts of the memory track are like a gold chain. Really, they're like a silver chain, not gold, they're silver. The silver is the moon, the emotions. They're like a silver chain, fine silver chain that gets knotted up. You have a little knot here, and a little knot here, and a little knot here, and then a big knot here. But untying that big knot, you find that there's 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 knots that have made the big one. But when you get to one, there's always one. When you get to it, everything else collapses. The big knot is undone. Now I can go and I can take care of these others. Today, the moon is in Virgo. The 6th sign of the zodiac, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo. And Virgo is the sign of the zodiac associated with the analytical mind, very detail-oriented sign of the zodiac, either very meticulous or extremely slovenly, one or the other. Very great for being an engineer or paying attention to tiny details, or for being self-critical. It wins, as in the words of my guru, it wins the booby prize of the zodiac because of the self-criticism that sabotages joy and happiness with that sign of the zodiac. So we're going to meditate today and lift that energy, which is within all of us. That Virgo energy is within all of us. We all have a tendency to be self-critical. Let it go. Lift, 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 and let it go. Let go of the criticism. There's a big difference between seeing a problem and wanting to correct it and whipping yourself because of it. Put the wet noodle down. Put the wet psychic noodle down and move forward. You can be joyful. You can be happy. You can have a good life. And your life may be great now. Make it even better. Even more joyful. Namaste. Sitting with your spine erect, place your hands in the Om Mudra, and turning your head to the left, exhale twice. Bring the head back to the center and begin to watch the breath. Use the sipping breath. Pull the energy from the limbs to the trunk. From the trunk to the spinal column. From the base of the spine to the sun center. Move that energy out in front of you as a golden ball of light. Expand it. Sweep that light around you to the left, encasing your being in a golden light. And do this 2 more times. And now ascend upward. Ascend as high as you are able. Above the building, above the continent, above the earth plane. Ascending high to the high place. As you reach the high place, you see a mountain. A path leading up the mountain, inviting you. Begin to walk upon the path. Ascending upward. Hear the creek running next to you. Light dappling through the trees. The soft forest floor beneath your feet. Ascending. You come to a clearing in the path. It opens up to a field in front of you. Walk through the field, the brilliant sunlight pouring down. the flowers and grasses wavering in the wind, the birds flying, the butterflies, dragonflies, drawing you up the mountain. The path leads you back into a forest. It is much cooler here. You can smell the pines and the firs as you ascend. 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 A light radiates in front of you. The path opens to a clearing, filled with brilliant light. You see a shrine in front of you, perfect for you. The light radiates forth from the shrine. Enter the shrine. Breathe in the light. Walk to the back of the shrine. The pool of light is more brilliant than before. You see the pool fed by a waterfall. Entering into the pool of light, submerge yourself in the pool. Letting all the old soak away. Walk to the waterfall and stand underneath it. The light pouring down upon your crown center. Washing away the karmas. Washing away the hurt. Washing away the self-criticism. The criticism of others. Filling all that karma, all those hurts, washing them away, filling it with light, cleansing, healing, vivifying, strengthening, forgiving. breathe in the light. Now feeling refreshed and new. Look down upon your body. Is there anything else that needs to be let go of? Allow the light to wash through the entire being. Loosening and letting go of all that which is no longer needed. Filled with light, walk from the waterfall back through the pool of light, feeling newly clothed. Walk forth from the cabin, the shrine of light, to your meditation space in the high place, knowing that you can come back here again and again. In the high place of meditation, let us join as a Sangha and send forth our meditative energies to all of those in need. To all of those who are living in fear and uncertainty, whose minds are filled with emotionality, whose lives are filled with difficulties. O ye powers that be, thou knowest better than we that which is needed most. We call upon thee at this moment to send forth, using our Yoga Siddhi, using our blessings, that it may go forth to those upon the earth who are most in need, as they need it most. And let us chant the Om Shanti mantra. And as you chant that mantra, feel the light radiating forth from your sun center. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. For all of those who are hungering for food, for water, for companionship, for love, for wisdom, for prana of the earth. May our blessings go forth to where they are most needed, in the way they are most needed. Again, the Om Shanti mantra. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. To all of those who are confined, who are imprisoned, physically, mentally, verbally, may they be freed. May they become joy-filled. May they find santosha, deep, abiding contentment. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. O ye powers that be, there are so many needs. You know best. You know better than we that which is needed. May our prayers that all be healed, that all find joy, that all find safety, that all find understanding of the nature of the life in which we live. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. O ye powers that be, pour forth thy blessings with us upon Mother Gaia. Let the golden dewdrops of Anandic bliss pour forth upon her, healing her, vivifying her, strengthening her, that we who live within her womb serve her, become attuned to her needs, that she have all she needs. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Dhyana mulam guru murtir, puja mulam guru padam, mantra mulam guru vakyam, moksha mulam guru kripa. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchitananda Murtaye Nishprabhanjaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase. Om Gum Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Gum Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Gum Gurubhyo Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thou art blessed. Accept the blessings of life which are pouring upon thee at this moment. Feel the Anandic bliss pouring down upon thee, filling every cell of thy being. Ananda, 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 da, da. Become an ever greater blessing unto all of those who enter your aura. Namaste. Namaskar. Shanti. 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 Thank you for the blessings of your presence.